Hello, Hidden Well farmers. Thank you for joining me for Friday Night Reflections. 1 Peter chapter 3, verse number 3. Whose adorning, let it not be that outward adorning of plaiting the hair, and of wearing of gold, or of putting on of apparel, but let it be the hidden man of the heart, in that which is not corruptible, even the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit, which is in the sight of God of great price. Many years ago, I saw one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my life. And it really did change my thinking on some things. And it doesn't start out as a very happy story. Cats can be some of the most notorious things in veterinary medicine to deal with. In our modern era, we have tried to switch over to a more fear-free type of environment, and there are veterinary practices that are set up like this to alleviate a lot of the stress and things that happen with cats. And it is a great practice and something that I have tried to adopt more and more of. But no matter how this thinking is ingrained in your practice, there are some cats that are very difficult to deal with. And so before we started doing any of the fear-free stuff, we were still dealing with a lot of very fractious cats. We have a lot of protocols in our practice to prevent a cat from escaping, a dog or escaping. I mean, it's really one of the worst things that can happen to you as a veterinarian or as a groomer or as a dog sitter is for the animal to escape your care. And in all of the years that I have practiced at Cumberland Valley Animal Hospital, this particular day, every single thing happened at the exact right time. My clinician went in to anesthetize this cat, and it tore him up. He reached in to get it, and they tried to wrap it up in a towel so that they could give it the anesthesia injection, and it went ballistic. And it got away from him. Well, at the same time that the cat got away from him, it ran to the door. The door to where we had it wasn't completely latched, and he was able to get his head and nose in and pry the door open just enough to get out of that room. He made a beeline for the back of the clinic, and then he turned. And just as he was getting to come around the corner, one of our maintenance men was making a delivery, and he opened the outside door. There's nowhere for this cat to get out of my building or out of my care, and he would have simply run to another room, and we would have been able to retrieve the cat. But when he opened that door, that was it. That cat ran between his legs and was gone. Now, folks, that is a really hard conversation to have with an owner. But this particular man, he was very gracious. He understood that his cat could be that way, and he only made one request, that he could come and call the cat and try to retrieve the cat whenever he wanted to. And so I said, yes, you can come on the property anytime you want to. He said that this cat and him are bonded and that they love one another, and he has no doubt that he can get this cat to come back to him. And I was thinking to myself, that's never going to happen. That cat is gone, but we'll hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. Every day, about the time we were getting ready to close, this guy would come with food and with water, and he would get out of his car and he would call for that cat. very gently. Just stay right there and cough for it. He did this for like 2 hours. He'd go and get something to eat. He'd come back. He'd spend a couple of hours. He did this every day for about 2 weeks. And then one day, we were there, and I was getting ready to leave, and he showed up, and he called his cat. His cat walked out of the woods and walked right up to him. He picked her up, petted her. I don't know what she'd been eating, but there was a reunion made in heaven. That cat was happy. That man was happy. His boy was happy. I mean, you talk about a celebration. And it was beautiful. I mean, that guy was so dedicated to that. He didn't have a lot of things in this world. He wasn't a wealthy man. But boy, he loved that cat. And I think that's one of the things that our world is most desperate for, is we spend so much time working on this outward beauty. Real beauty comes from the inside. It comes from the inside. And if we can get past that outward beauty and see the inward beauty, we have got something that God really delights in. So, to make a very long story short, we did spay that cat. We didn't lose it again. We sent it home, and everybody was quite happy. And I'm proud to say that I was glad that I got to see him get his cat back. Thank you for joining me for Reflections. We'll see you next Friday. God bless.